Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Overwatch Open. We are sitting here ready to go for FNATIC versus Team Liquid. Of course, both these teams no stranger to matching off against each other. They've had great games in the past, and we're hoping for a great game here tonight. But FNATIC definitely with a little bit more experience as of late, Ben, so they have that in their back pocket as they roll into this matchup.
Yeah, we're going to be figuring out who's going to go to Atlanta in this fight. The winner will, of course, qualify directly into the $300,000 tournament, which is the Overwatch Open, going to be taking place at the ELEAGUE studios. And that's a nice-looking studio, by the way. I mean, we're at a pretty sweet set here, but the set that they've got going on at ELEAGUE going to be pretty awesome to see at the end of the month, just a couple short weeks away. And at the end of this hour or so, we're going to figure out who's going to be the first to qualify out of Group C. You know, we saw Team Liquid actually facing off against Colorado Clutch, and it was a very close game. A lot of people slept on this Clutch team, but I've been hyping them up for a long, long time, and I think for good reason, because they put up a great fight. But nonetheless, we're going to be moving on to this next game as soon as all the players are ready. And folks, remember to get out there and tweet hashtag OWOpen. Get the word out about this match, because I think it's going to be very exciting. At least it's going to be a test for Team Liquid. And if you're following me, you might see the harm, the ills of trying to tweet very last second, because I just messed up the same tweet about 9 different times and deleted it every time, and I didn't even get one out, ZP. So got to pick up some slack from you guys. Come on.
Yeah, and just to give you guys a little bit more incentive here, not only do we have a few great games coming in here tonight for Group C, but tomorrow we're going to be going through all of Group D, which does include fan favorites like Team NRG, where if NRG is able to get through tomorrow, that will be the first LAN that they will qualify for moving forward. So that is going to be interesting. Always cool to see teams qualifying for in-person events, but we are getting in here to our first map of the night. Will be Hollywood.
And just to set the stage for you guys, as ZP definitely likes to do, I'm going to steal his thunder a little bit. Of course, the winner will qualify, but the loser not out of it, down and out just yet. We are playing double elimination style groups, so the loser of this will still have a chance. But the winner, though, it's got to feel nice when you qualify directly into the biggest tournament in Overwatch history. And with 10 seconds on the board, ZP, I'll let you take us through this. But here we go. It's going to be Team Liquid on attack first. FNATIC will be playing defense as Hollywood does get going.
There is no more standard defense than you could have for FNATIC than what they have right now. IDD, QD on his signature McCree, Cool Matt on his signature Zarya, Cust on Zenyatta, Stoop on Reinhardt, Vonathil and Lucio and Buds on Reaper. This is effectively FNATIC's go-to bread and butter roster, but all these players well known for the heroes they're playing right now. And we'll see if they're able to hold point A Hollywood, which oftentimes can be a real challenge for teams in this meta.
Yeah, we were just talking about before the game started that it's going to be tough for ID and AZK to win the battles against the respective DPS characters for FNATIC. FNATIC are specialists with Reaper and with McCree, so we'll see if they can go toe-to-toe here as the fights do begin.
All right, Mezar able to get the first kill on the Buds, striking first. IDD trying to equalize it, but with ID in the back line, it's 2 kills here for Liquid, and the key for them is that they're going to be able to reinforce even quicker here as they set up. FNATIC is in a really rough situation. If they're able to pull this back, it would be huge, but here comes ID on the flank, going right into the cafe from behind. IDD firing shots in from the top, but ID is applying pressure from the bottom. It frees up AZK to take out Vonathil, and Liquid is slowly but surely going to take this point.
Yeah, this is still another big advantage for FNATIC, or excuse me, Liquid, as they're on the point. AZK will get the kill first. IDD does go down, so nicely done. It wasn't in one decisive battle, but slowly and surely that Liquid will collect this first point, and that's a great sign for them here. And I do wonder if we will see any hero switch-ups as we do move on to the streets phase. A lot of folks do tend to favor characters that can get up onto the roofs.
It was a really good opening for Liquid, and they're going to have ult advantage as they move in here. They will have to watch out for the Graviton Surge, but I will say this much. It is very hard to defend point A for any team here in Hollywood. It's really, teams have had huge troubles with it, so I wouldn't write off FNATIC just yet. FNATIC very likely make a turnabout here, and we'll see if Matt and Stoop, the tanks for FNATIC, can set this up here in just a moment.
All right, FNATIC looking to try and gain that high ground advantage. They'll be taking the elevator all the way up, very slowly, of course, but they will get there eventually. Rafa poking very far ahead of his team, trying to get as much charge as he can with Zarya. Of course, getting that charge so damn important, as now the payload moving under the bridge. But when will Liquid be collapsed upon? FNATIC will come down here on the cue of that huge Graviton Surge. Buds will get 2, Stoop will get 2, and that is a clean wipe. FNATIC looking nice after just one ult used there.
FNATIC just measuring Liquid as they rolled in. They dropped in, and yeah, it was really just Cool Matt setting it up. FNATIC said, wait, we don't even have to drop anything else here. Matt has done the hard lifting for us, and this is going to be an ult showdown coming up. Both teams really packed to the gills with ults here. Stoop can drop down for the flanking Earth Shatter. Buds can drop down for Death Blossom. Liquid gonna have to deal with this with the Sound Bearer. It's all up to Minstrel here to land a good Sound Bearer and keep Liquid into it. But FNATIC should be dropping down soon.
Yeah, absolute positional advantage here. FNATIC is going to be able to drop down, and that's exactly how to do it as Reaper. But look at this. This is super interesting to see from Liquid. Maybe Rafa's decision-making coming into play as they're not on the payload. They're trying to kind of fake out FNATIC.
All right, we'll look at Buds right now. He is measuring, he is dropping. Here comes the Death Blossom into the back line. Sound Bearer going to prevent the worst of it, but Cool, Matt, and Stoop coming in for the flank, picking up 2. IDD, QD piling in. It's going to be 4 kills here for FNATIC. Buds has done his job, and his team backed him up.
Yeah, Bonifil even drops the Sound Bearer for FNATIC as well on defense to make that even cleaner. So Liquid actually will maintain a little tiny bit of an ultimate advantage. It's going to be 4-2 for this next fight, and it does seem like they're going to be able to combo as well. Id, of course, has that Death Blossom. If he can find a way to get together with Rafa, a player that he's played with throughout the eons of Quake, these two have played together on the same team in Quake CTF throughout time, so they should have the teamwork to make this happen.
All right, well, they're moving forward. This is a big opportunity here for Liquid. They need to win this ult advantage situation. They're moving in. The Grouton's out, does pull in 2. Buds, though, firing right back. Down goes AZK. ID on the flanking Death Blossom. Takes out Bonifil. Looking for more. Gonna get the double kill effectively. Only IDD QD is really up in the threat. Deadeye over the top. Going to get one. Looking for more. Does not get it. And Liquid, for the most part, decent fight for them. They are going to keep the payload moving forward.
And Cool Matt is so far out of position now, and actually kind of tricky to know what he's going to do here. He's got to find a way to get together with his team, but he might go down and out a little early. Stoop will be jumping right onto the payload with that Reinhardt shield, though, so this is the only opportunity for Cool Matt to jump forward. I wonder if Liquid knows that he's all the way behind them right now. Where is Cool Matt?
Cool Matt is off on an island, but he has fully charged up his Graviton here. He can save this fight for FNATIC as Liquid moves forward. Liquid very much drained on ultimates after that last fight. They're not in a power position by any means. AZK, though, able to take out Cool Matt right as the Graviton goes on. It's a sacrificial strike from Cool Matt, but it does help his team. They get 2 kills. IDD QD looking for a little bit more. Rafa's poked down. He has to get out, but it's too late, and IDD QD and Buds will be finishing this out.
Okay, so Liquid has been down for the time being, and this will be their opportunity to get together and figure out what their next plan of attack is. And of course, you always see teams they're always gonna be taking the elevator up, trying to get the top position. It is Buds, though, with the Death Blossom on defense. We have a couple of DPS ultimates up for the defending team, and we'll see if Buds can find an opportunity to use that here. AZK for Liquid, though, on a flank. Actually, the entire team seems to be flanking on through the building. They've been caught out, though, of course. They're not going to be able to get out there too unnoticed, but they could be able to get a quick kill. Kumat, again, a little bit out of position, but Liquid unable to collect anything from that.
Liquid blew the Transcends there a little bit early. I think they were spooked by Buds. I thought Buds was going to come in. Buds just biding his time. Sound Bearer's been used now. Buds. Support ultimates are down. Here comes Buds, moving to the back line, takes out Rafa, forces AZK back, will get the double kill. The patience on Buds there. And again, I think Liquid saw him coming in. They thought he was going to drop in Death Blossom, and he sort of spooked the ultimates right out. And look at the next fight. They're going to have Sound Barrier and Earth Shatter both up, so FNATIC in a great situation. And let's frame the time here properly for everyone. Liquid only has 1 fight left to get through here to the second point, so they must win in an ult disadvantage situation. It is going to be rough, and a lot is going to be here on ID.
And we have a big switch up. The 2 tanks now for Liquid are going to be D.Va and Winston, so they're opting to try and get that high ground advantage. Will they be able to do so? So AZK is moving around the far way to try and do a little bit of damage, get a little bit of flank, try and distract as best as he possibly can, but Rafa and Messer have to get together and figure something out right here and now. You know, of course, the benefit of D.Va is that he can knock folks off the roof, so will that be coming out of Rafa here in a second? Coolmat by himself again. Coolmat a little bit out of position. Rafa will get the first kill, but Coolmat still alive, or actually has gone down now. And IDDQD raining hell from above to Hang is in his sights, and he's going to get the kill, and that surely will be the last push here for Liquid. They have been shut down in the Streets phase by FNATIC.
FNATIC is going to hold right in the Streets phase, and that is going to set them up beautifully for their own attack run. And let's just talk about victory conditions here. What it means is that they don't have to worry about time. They don't have to get into that nitty-gritty. All they have to do is not even finish the map out, but just push the payload a little bit further, and they will be taking Hollywood. So this is what you want from your defense. You cannot ask anything more, and now it's just up to their offensive play to be just as good.
Pretty interesting to see how Coolmat was kind of spread apart from his team in a lot of those engagements. While the rest of his team would be up on the rooftops, he'd be sitting right on the payload. But of course, they had that planned from the very get-go. FNATIC was able to collapse when the time came every single time. And I actually like the switch up at the end, Rafa going D.Va to just try and find any way to dislodge FNATIC from the rooftops, but maybe a little bit too late, as didn't really actually make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you go to something like a anytime you go to something like a D.Va or a Winston, it can be good for dislodging people from the high ground, but it does come at a cost of not being able to run the more traditional sort of Reinhardt Zarya that teams really, really like right now for moving things forward. But in the end, they weren't able to get what they're looking for, and now they're stuck with a really rough situation. Best case scenario here for Liquid is that they hold on point A and don't even play the streets phase, because if they get into the streets, FNATIC is certainly going to win. And the bigger problem, of course, is that holding on point A is hard. You saw FNATIC have a great defense in the streets phase, and yet they got rushed down on point A. Liquid is able to take it on the first attack, so Liquid is going to have to find a way of cracking this here. Usually when we have seen teams defend point A, they do it by being highly aggressive. I don't know if Liquid is really built to do that, but I suppose we will see what happens.
Yeah, almost a little bit surprised to see id not playing something like the Junkrat here. I mean, he had great success on Anubis. Of course, Anubis is a map that Junkrat is favored on, or has been as of late. But id, he's going to be hard-pressed to win this Reaper versus Reaper battle against Buds. He's got to find a way to be sneaky, a way to come from a flanking angle where he catches FNATIC off guard. Otherwise, it's going to be tough.
Alrighty, well, here comes FNATIC. They are on the way. They're going to be leading things forward here. And again, they have multiple ways going after this. They don't have to worry too much about time, but they are going right in. Stoop, though, goes down immediately, but it's not without a fight. 2 kills for both sides, but this bodes well, again, for FNATIC. Anytime you trade out on offense, it's great, and they're just going to be able to move forward. There's no more shield tank to really stop IDDQD from making maximum use of his McCree. He does have to worry about the other McCree, but IDDQD pretty darn good about winning these McCree versus McCree battles.
And there is a small window of advantage now for FNATIC as they are regrouping from the back, and Liquid smartly will be backing off a little bit, but not backing off quick enough. AZK will be taken down, so will Rafa, and FNATIC looking so strong in a great position to take this first point, almost making it look a little bit easy now as they really used that timing perfectly. ZP, you called it right. They were able to reinforce a little bit quicker, and that meant that they had a window. They seized that window.
General rule for defense in Overwatch on point A is that you have to trade out and get at least 2 kills for every 1 death you sustain. If you trade out 1-to-1, especially early on, you are going to lose the point, and that's just how it goes, which is why it is hard to hold the first point. But you take a look at this here for FNATIC. They have a Death Blossom up from Buds. Absolutely lethal with how he's played this far. Custom with the Transcendence. They have a big ult advantage here, and if Liquid loses 1 more major team fight, it's going to be very hard for them to even entertain defending where the payload must go.
And this is even worse than it looks right now because Rafa has been knocked out of his D.Va suit. He's just a baby D.Va trying to rain down a little bit of damage from above. AZK, though, looking to try and get a big Deadeye, not able to happen here as both teams now collapsing onto the point, and FNATIC looking to have positional advantage. They'll have the man advantage as well. That's 4 kills. FNATIC absolutely destroying right now as Liquid got to run home with their tail between their legs. And is there time even to stop this payload?
We'll see. They're definitely going to have to run in. They're not going to have good positioning, and they are going to be running into Sound Barrier. Vonthal's going to be able to open up the Sound Barrier, speed boost in Cool Matt and IDDQD and Buds. It's really all but over right now. Here comes the Graviton, pulls in 3 people. Buds moving in, waiting to hit Q, doesn't even need to. 2 quick kills here for FNATIC. Liquid on the ropes. There's almost nothing they can do to prevent this from going to the end right now. Buds just going to hit the Q to be sure. Doesn't get anything off it, but still clears out the payload nonetheless. And this is going to be a quick and dirty FNATIC win here in Hollywood.
Yeah, plenty of time left on the clock. And one last chance. Will AZK pull off a miracle? He doesn't have the Pulse Bomb to his name, and without the Pulse Bomb, he is even looking worse and worse, and Buds will push even further forward. And there we go. The payload will roll into its final destination. That's going to be the first map going the way of FNATIC, and not something we didn't expect to see here, that FNATIC would have the edge. However, Liquid, you got to feel like they stumbled a little bit on attack. On defense, they were just kind of rolled over as well.
There wasn't a whole lot of things to look to Liquid here and say that things went well, aside from they had a good first point attack. That was good. But other than that, FNATIC was just outplaying them on multiple levels here. Certainly, you take a look at how FNATIC was handling it too. It wasn't that FNATIC was simply just going up the gut. They had a lot of good flanks throughout the game. Coolmat was even taking Zarya flanks to a new level, just being a real pest in the back. There was even a point where, and just as evidence of that, there was even a point where all of FNATIC had died and Coolmat was just stuck somewhere out in the back for quite a while, but still came back in with an ultimate. It was a sacrificial ultimate, but actually ended up winning them the fight. So in the end, FNATIC seemingly playing at a little bit of a higher level here. It wasn't unwinnable by Liquid. It certainly, there's points where, okay, they do have the mechanical skill to do this, but it was rough as expected.
And now the question is, where will Liquid decide to go? They lost the first map, which means it is their choice. And it's going to be Gibraltar. We're heading on to Gibraltar, not a map that we've seen an absolute ton of in the last couple of days of qualifiers, but Liquid thinks that they might have some way to eke out an advantage here, and it's a little bit less, how to put this, Dorado, you do tend to see these compositions built around the Reapers, and I think there's going to be a little bit less of an opportunity for Buds to go nuts on Gibraltar. What do you think about that?
It depends. If you're talking about Buds on offense, certainly. Offensive Reaper on Gibraltar has a little bit more trouble getting in position, but Reaper on defense has plenty of hidey holes to stay into, plenty of verticality to abuse, so it's sort of hit and miss there. You won't have to worry about his Buds on Reaper too much on the attack. We'll see if they run a Genji or something instead in that particular case, but on the defense, I think there's no reason why we wouldn't see Buds on Reaper, so we'll have to see how it goes. Gibraltar, if nothing else, is sort of an off pick. It's not a map teams have played a whole lot right now. It's certainly not a map that teams scrim a whole lot at the moment, so maybe somehow from the point of view of Liquid, maybe they've put more time in and figure maybe we can catch FNATIC off guard. We will just have to see as we load right into it.
You know, ZP, I'm going to make a prediction and try to sound smart here. We might see Buds bring out the Roadhog. We've seen him play Roadhog on this point before, and this is one of the maps where you do see Roadhog a little bit more than others, especially out of some of the North American teams do tend to favor a little bit of Roadhog play here and there. So will we see that come out for Buds, or will it be the Reaper? And I'm actually wondering now what we're going to see out of id.
We'll just have to see, but I will say on the North American side, you can definitely give a lot of credit to that, the gang Harbalud. But the one thing about FNATIC, of course, is that they put Coolmat on Roadhog a lot. There's a point in the meta where, for a long time, where they just put Coolmat on it when, of course, a pre-Zen buff and you had Roadhog in every game. Matt, told us like, hey, I'm just playing Roadhog every game. And I guess for now, he's going to reestablish that IDD QD on the standard McCree. So really the main switch up here is that you have Matt on the Roadhog as opposed to running a Zarya.
And we had seen FNATIC run with actually, instead of Matt on Roadhog, he was playing Zarya, where we had Buds on the Roadhog. So they used to run 3 tank on this push, or they have run 3 tanks on this push a bit. But this is actually a little bit scary for Liquid. They've got Rafa on Winston right now, and Winston against both the Roadhog and the Reaper could have a very difficult time.
Winston is going to be careful. Luckily for Rafa, he does have some of the better decision-making in the game, so I don't think he's going to just leap into his death. Now that I said that, he's of course going to leap into his death, but we'll leave the caster curse aside for a moment. As FNATIC is moving forward, taking a look at the Liquid defense, they're not going for server room. They're going more spread-out, crossfire-esque defense, where I think for them, they're just actually looking to drop down from all directions and not give FNATIC an easy target to rush right in on.
Okay, Minstrel a little bit exposed right now. He's going to have to back off, and he's able to do so. And now the attacking team of FNATIC has managed to take the high ground, and they're actually behind the defenders now. They are in the position that you'd expect the defenders to be. So this is getting scrappy. This is getting weird. Somehow Minstrel gets the first kill in this engagement, and Rafa will continue. So while FNATIC looked like they had a bit of a positional advantage, it's going to be Liquid absolutely cleaning up here, ZP.
Liquid's defense was flexible like water there. They saw where FNATIC was running in, and they just used the outskirts of the map to their advantage. They did not give FNATIC an easy target to go, oh, everyone roll in here and just brawl it out. No, Liquid was all around there, and really their main target was Coolmat. They were able to mark him with the Discord Orb and just fight him from multiple angles, even to the end where it was Lucio getting the killing blow, but really they were all in on it. It was a pretty nice defense coming out from the side of Liquid.
AZK good look for a zoning ultimate here, but he's brought down to so little health. He's got to back off. He's managed to do it. Still might have the opportunity for a zoning Deadeye as he's moved back into position where that is going to be potentially viable here, as now a lot of ultimates up for both teams. Buds, IDD QD, AZK to hang ultimates left, right, and center. Could start to see some coming out. It's going to be IDDQ dropping his first.
All right, Transcendence is out here for this FNATIC. They are starting to be all in here on this point, but here comes AZK coming in off the flank. Deadeye will be on the menu. Skull's coming up, but he goes down, taken out right away. 2 kills here from FNATIC. They're starting to put this fight in their favor. To hang stuck in the back, trying to fight IDDQD. That's not a good matchup in the least, as FNATIC just going to mechanically get the kills they need to get there. Nothing too flashy. just Transcendence setting them up.
Yeah, I don't hate this choice of Winston and D.Va on the first point of Gibraltar, nor the second. I mean, it allows them to be very flexible about where they go, what movements they make. However, I just don't feel like it's the right composition against a Reaper and a Roadhog. Both of these characters are going to be able to dole out an incredible amount of damage to these gigantic, squishy tanks that are being pulled out by Liquid. That said, Messar is going to be switching on over to Reinhardt, taking that shield, and we'll see if that changes things.
Alrighty, well, both teams are setting up once more, and the thing for FNATIC here is that they might seem low in ult, but do have the Sound Barrier up, which means if they use it right, they can really put Liquid on the back foot just from the support ult alone. Minstrel goes down, so it's now 6v5, and they do have this advantage, and 4 kills here for FNATIC. Sound Barrier going to good use, sort of out of nowhere, really, but they're going to move this right forward, and now Liquid might not even be able to contest this as it moves to the second checkpoint.
Yeah, just a Winston and a Zenyatta all by themselves, and even with the Discord Orb, Winston is not going to be able to out-DPS anybody at all here. Rafa, though, is going to go full ape and jumping around, just trying to delay and allow his team the opportunity to come back in. That said, Cool Matt with the game sense there. He's going to throw the hook, hit the hook, get the kill, and that looks even better for FNATIC now, but AZK and ID actually striking back.
He got the kill, but unfortunately, everyone started swarming around him. However, this isn't the worst for FNATIC. They got a whole lot of payload pressure there. It was good on Liquid to be able to get back in time and actually push out FNATIC, but FNATIC, they will have a decent amount of ult power as they move into the next fight. Death Blossom, of course, pretty good. Deadeye, good as well, and support ult coming up relatively soonish. They will be going into Transcendence, but other than that, if they can deal with it, they will be able to take this fight. So they're moving in right now. Transcendence is out from the side of the Liquid right now, is going to push FNATIC back a little bit. It sets them up for 2 kills, and FNATIC now 64 has to be a little bit careful.
Yeah, IDDQD striking back, but that's only bringing this to a 1-man advantage now for Liquid as they're on the point. They have the advantage. They have the Sound Barrier as well, and now Stoop has to run away. He's going to be shocked by that flashbang and taken down as well. So 3 minutes and 35 seconds left on the clock, but all of a sudden Liquid has found their positioning. They found how they want to play here on the second point, and I definitely think switching over to Reinhardt has helped a lot to really face off against this Roadhog play.
No, it definitely helps. Anytime you can put people behind a shield so they don't actually get taken out by a hook, it's always a good thing. FNATIC in the next fight, they will have Transcendence up and Earthshower. Deadeye, though, coming up from AZK, trying to snipe someone out as they go into the side room. Bud's able to take out ID. ID's flank not successful, and FNATIC, once more, they've opened up a big 65 opportunity. Their move in. Custa pulls out the Transcendence, does not get taken out by McCree, and FNATIC now moving forward. But that was a panic Transcendence. Does not matter. 2 extra kills come in from FNATIC, and they should be able to take this now.
Yeah, that Transcendence was in reaction there, able to heal everyone all the way up, and Liquid now down and out, relegated to the final point here on Gibraltar. They've held long enough, though, to feel okay about this situation as Cool Matt looking for the hook. If he was able to get that, could have been absolutely catastrophic for Liquid. So they've got to sync up together, and Rafa will be switching on over to Zarya, and we'll see if Rafa and ID are able to make any kind of combination happen here as id stocked with the Death Blossom here on the final point.
ID right now does have a big opportunity to buy another minute here for Liquid if he's able to move to the back line with the Death Blossom. And FNATIC, you have to watch out for that. They don't have a support up right now. Bonto about to get a Sound Barrier up, but it might not be up in time. Liquid does have a short window here to really bring it to FNATIC. We'll see if they capitalize. They're moving in. Transcendence is out. ID, though, goes down before he gets the Death Blossom off. That opportunity has been lost. It's 5v5 right now, but FNATIC in a dominating position. Buds getting kills in the back line. IDDQD under a bit of pressure, but is going to get healed back up.
Buds and IDDQD both brought down so low in that last engagement, but if they're able to survive, that's going to be all that FNATIC needs to clean this up, and the payload will start rolling once again. It's 1 for Team Liquid all the way in the back, and he's going to go down as well, so this is going to have to be the perfect delay strategy. They're going to have to come out one at a time, and each player has to find their own way to delay here as they start moving on out, and it's going to be a Zarya shield keeping the team alive, but Buds dropping the ultimate. The Death Blossom is real in the spawn point, and that's going to be a cap in a very decent time here, ZP.
Time-wise, that's going to work out to be about 6 minutes, 42 seconds or so, which for Gibraltar is super respectable. It's even respectable at points on slightly shorter maps, but for Gibraltar, something that FNATIC can feel pretty darn good about as they look to take on their defense. But from Liquid's point of view, at least they know that you can do this map significantly faster, but they're going to need most things to go their way. They certainly can't have anything go wrong early on where they get stuck trying to get in the hangar and then get stopped in the hangar. Team wipe wise, they can suffer maybe 5 6 team wipes over the course of the game here and still win, which is a decent number, but it's very easy to get bogged down in Gibraltar.
And here we go. FNATIC now taking their turn to play on defense, and we're seeing Buds this time switch on over to Roadhog. So my prediction finally coming true this time on defense, as they are going to bring out this 3-tank defense with Winston, Reinhardt, and Roadhog at play. IDDQD will be the lone DPS player here for FNATIC as McCree. Over on the Liquid side, very standard stuff as well, as Reaper is going to be played by id again. And we kind of talked about the fact that id tends to be a specialist with these projectile characters, with Pharah, with Junkrat. But on a map like this, in a position like this, with the meta, how it is, with Pharah, how she is at this moment in time, it does make sense to see him on Reaper. But he's going to have to find ways to get in on this team, and he's going to have 3 big tanks to be wailing on into. But will he be able to get close enough? That's the question.
We'll just have to see. Take a look here at the FNAC comp. They will be running both a Roadhog and McCree. Not something you see all that often. Usually teams will put a Roadhog in the McCree spot, but clearly what FNAC is going for here, they want the cleanup and potential burst power of McCree, but they still want the pick-off power of a Roadhog. And Buds, what you're going to see from him is that he's going to be a little bit more aggro, looking to get a quick pick-off. He's not going to have a Zarya to back him up, which is a little bit rough as a Roadhog, because sometimes you overpoke, you can just die right away. We'll see how it works out, but if Buds gets that early pick, it's going to be very hard for Liquid to recover, just because of the backline fire of IDDQD.
Okay, and pretty defensive posture here by Team Liquid, or excuse me, by FNATIC. They're happy to hang on back in this second area, as most teams do tend to be at this point in time. And here comes Liquid coming through, and they're all underneath the arch, so none of them deciding to try and take the high ground in this engagement. They're more than happy to be relegated behind the payload with his passive healing and with the Reinhardt shield as well.
All right, Mezar, though, going in, takes out Buds right away. Buds is punished for overpoking. They did not have the Zarya to cover him there. As mentioned, 2 quick kills here from Liquid. And defense FNATIC now actually going to have a little bit of trouble to start things out. It's a 5v4 in favor of Liquid. And AZK, if he just bides his time here, there's not going to be anyone that can really dive on him as he continues poking things out. However, FNATIC doing a decent job of still holding back despite the early pickoffs, and they might in fact be able to reinforce. Liquid looking a little bit tentative as Buds gets that backline, takes out Rafa. Buds, of course, responding as a Tracer.
It just feels like Rafa should not have gone down in that situation. Team Liquid still had the 1-man advantage. And I got to give it up to Coolmat in his positioning as Winston there. Just the threat of Winston dropping down at any time kept Team Liquid a little bit cautious, a little bit further back than, and a little bit less aggressive than maybe they could have been there.
Yeah, and I think you're right. Matt did intimidate them there. Liquid had an advantage. They did not take it. And now FNAC is fully reinforced. Matt is going to be looking to flank in here as a Winston. IDDQD comfortably on the top, poking down. Sort of reminiscent of the old Crossfire defenses from his position right now. But Liquid, they just, I'm not going to say the word scared, but they're just probing, trying to figure a way of going after FNAC, as FNAC's poke is really keeping them on their heels.
And look at this rotation from IDDQD. As soon as Liquid does try and take the high ground and dislodge IDDQD, he responds, falling back, falling behind, but Dehang will draw first blood, and that bodes well for Liquid now. Will this flank pay off? No, IDDQD stopped in his tracks. ID will find a couple of kills here, and this is looking great for Liquid. Interesting kind of rotation there out of IDDQD, but in the end didn't end up paying off much thanks to that flashbang.
That was beautiful from AZK. That is one way of shutting down IDDQD. You don't see a max range flashbang into a headshot from that sort of angle all that often. That was beautiful stuff coming out from AZK, keeping the dream alive here for Liquid as they move things forward. FNAC, though, not without their options. Buds with a quick pick on ID, and we might see a sound barrier counter engage here in just a moment. 2 kills here for FNATIC, and who knows, they might even have to blow those ults.
Yeah, and they shouldn't really. They're getting super aggressive now on defense. FNATIC has been able to push Liquid back towards their spawn, and they're also going to be able to hold on to just about all of their resources as well. And they're getting close to having a ton of ultimates. They've already got 3, close to getting a 4th as Custa looking to get that Transcendence. And the positioning advantage now is real for FNATIC as they've taken the high ground. IDDQD looking for value out of this Deadeye, moving forward towards the edge of the space shuttle, but it's going to be pretty smart stuff out of Liquid. They know what's going on here. They know the situation. They're going to back off to safety.
All right, Sound Barrel's going to be coming up from both sides. Everyone is feeling the beat. Those are going to trade off. Budzo finds AZK, takes him out. 65 now for FNATIC. They're going to be more aggressive here towards Liquid, moving it forward. IDDQD way in the back line right now, just blinking shot after shot into Mezar. Coolmat getting in on the action as well, as FNATIC will win this partial ult showdown. And and push Liquid back.
And ZP, you've called out the crossfire style defense here out of FNATIC several times, and we just saw that come into play for real here, as it was Custa and, of course, IDDQD combining for a couple of kills. And if it weren't for Custa flanking there, IDDQD could have been in trouble, but Custa able to keep his teammate alive.
All right, well, Liquid is moving back in. Neither side of the sound barrier here, but Custa and Dehang have Transcendence. It's going to be a very Zen-fueled fight, to say the least, as both teams set up. IDDQD weighing for another Deadeye here, something that Liquid has to watch out for sightline-wise. They can't give up an early pick. Stoop is going to be able to give him the shielding back up here. Cool Matt putting on the pressure. The flank might be real. Bunzo goes down. Here comes the Deadeye. IDDQD looking for those happy little skulls. Not going to get it offhand, but Stoop gets it to the room, swings a hammer, takes out two. And it is all sorts of monkey business going on in here. And
Dehang beginning to dole out a lot of damage now as Zen. We've seen him on the scoreboard a number of times here, and Rafa now actually playing as Whole Hog. He's going Whole Hog. Rafa gets 2 kills, 1 versus 2, able to pop the ultimate and make it happen there. So still in it for Team Liquid, but just 2 minutes left on the clock. They've got to play flawless from here on out. They can't really be stumped anymore. They still have a small advantage, though, in this next fight.
They do have a small advantage, but man, that was an interesting position for both teams. FNATIC definitely trying to set up. Here comes Bunzo. Death Blossom on the way. Does not get a kill, but makes enough space for Custa and Stoop. They get 2 of their own. FNATIC with a bit of an advantage here. AZK fighting for his life in the back. Was down to 7 HP, but the headshot on the Cool Mat, keeping the dream a little bit alive. Gonna have to wait for a few respawns here, but here's the problem. As you mentioned, there was 2 minutes left before. Now it's only 1:30. If they're going to complete this, they have to not only win the rest of the map, they also have to dominate. So Liquid definitely down to their last life here. Everything must go perfectly and then some. But here comes Stoop. Earthshaft the ready. Is he going to drop it?
AZK, he's going to be actually dropping the Deadeye, not going to be able to find anything, any targets whatsoever. IDDQD coming from the top, he's going to drop down, and as he drops, pulling that trigger, and with 1 minute 6 seconds left, it's starting to look worse and worse and worse for Liquid. They might drop out, not of course out of the tournament or this qualifier, but they might drop out of this match as they're about to go 0-2 unless they can make a miracle happen and keep this payload cruising with no stops whatsoever.
So it's still possible, but again, they don't have to just win every fight from here on out. They have to win it decisively. They need to just eliminate FNATIC right as they come in, so there's no stalling whatsoever. They don't really have the tools to do that. They have a sound barrier, but take a look at FNATIC just for stalling purposes alone. They have Transcendence and an Earthshatter, so just using those 2 ultimates, even if they lose the fight, might be able to do this. Here comes the sound barrier. Minstrel leading the way on an aggressive engage, but the Earthshatter from Stoop, knocking down 3, sets up Buds, 2 kills for FNATIC. And even if they lose this fight here, they've stalled enough to win this game. Ladies and gentlemen, FNATIC, we will see you in Atlanta.
Yes, FNATIC will be the first to move on out of this group as they're going to collect the win here in just a couple of seconds. GG's will be called in any moment now, but great play at a Stoop there to stop what could have been the miracle Deadeye out of AZK in the very end there. And I liked the thought from Team Liquid. Id was flanking, but not quite enough as the time bank will expire. We are, of course, playing stopwatch mode, and that means that the fact that Liquid weren't able to complete the map in the same time FNATIC did means that they're going to be out of the tournament, or excuse me, out of that match, not out of the tournament, getting dropped down into the lower bracket. And we've been joined by our great friends and co-hosts. It's Josh and James. How you guys doing?
Terrific. Well, I mean, that was quite dominant from FNATIC, especially the first map. They were a bit of a bowling ball, just going straight through their opposition Liquid. So indeed, FNATIC do make it to Atlanta, the first team from today's bracket. So, but you know, Liquid down but not out. There's some losers matches to go before they find out who the next opponent is. I mean, talk about the dominance on the first map there. ZP, how do you feel about that first map?
I mean, it sort of goes into what we were saying before, where FNATIC, they don't have a whole lot of mechanical weaknesses right now, and they are pretty well practiced. But the biggest thing I'd probably note to FNATIC is that you take a look at their positioning, how they sort of put Liquid in the bad situations. There's actually a really good example of it on Gibraltar. Even though they didn't win the fight as outright as they wanted to, they were all on top of the hangar. They had Cool Matt come in from the flank. They forced them all into the room, and Stoop actually got 2 hammer kills. And you saw many instances of that on the first map as well, and it's just sort of what FNATIC does, where they're definitely playing the positioning game at a higher level than most right now. And I think a lot to be gained from that is sort of their boot camp experience, where before that, I'm not sure they were playing that part of the game nearly as well.
Josh, do you have much to say about the brief map that was Hollywood?
Hollywood, I want to say Bud's definitely impressed as you see that multi-kill there. Just absolutely knows what he's doing on Reaper. No question about positioning or timing. It's just almost flawless play from Buds, and he's allowed to do that, of course, because of the super strong supporting team that he has there. The ult coordination always seemed to favor FNATIC. Every time Liquid used one or two, they either fell flat or never really seemed timed properly. But here, Stoop with the jumping down, that was actually really great play as he just swings for the fences and gets a piece of almost everybody from Stoop. But yeah, FNATIC just, I think ZP said it well. They funneled all the kills into the correct areas, allowed IDDQD to stay safe a lot and shoot from distance. Plenty of headshots from both AZK and IDDQD. We were talking about the duel between McCree's a little bit before the match started, and I think IDDQD definitely came out on top more often than not.
Ben, you saw those hooks causing lots of problems. Liquid tried to counter the hook. I say counter, but it's more try and nullify it rather than counter with the shield on Reinhardt. Didn't work out for them though. They still lost the map.
Yeah, but it was that Reinhardt switch that actually allowed them to hold a little bit, get a little bit of friction there in the shuttle phase. Eventually, they were looking much worse, I should say, on the first part of the map when they were running with the Winston. You know, Winston against two shotgun-heavy characters in both Roadhog and Reaper is just really tough. You're going to have a very, very difficult time to find any kind of room to jump on in without being hooked, without having a Reaper flank you. So yes, the Reinhardt didn't end up working out in the end, but at least on Gibraltar, Team Liquid was able to make it close, able to put up a pretty good fight, and in fact, that last fight was looking pretty okay for a moment there for Team Liquid. They had ID flanking very effectively. If it wasn't for the fact that first of all, the fact that they had very little time left, but if it wasn't for that huge Earth Shatter out of Stoop, we could have actually seen a big Deadeye as well from AZK. So in the end, able to make it pretty damn close, but still, FNATIC looking pretty dominant, and it does come down to their team coordination.
Republic of Gamers, incredible play of the game. What do we think it's going to be?
I have to imagine a Bud's triple kill out of the many that we saw throughout this entire match. I don't know specifically which one. Maybe it's Stoop's drop down actually from the rooftop actually was pretty amusing and a little bit unique. So maybe Stoop. Yeah, it is going to be Stoop. All right.
You called it, Joshy.
The dropping down Reinhardt. Don't see this every day. That was kind of huge. Came in like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, the people's elbow for Reinhardt.
You just need
from
the glass
top
break.
rope.
But yeah, that was great from Stoop coming down, and that's actually the second sort of combo we've seen that today. Lots of Graviton Surges into Reinhardt's going in, absolutely wreaking havoc. And yeah, I mean, the other thing to give credit to, of course, as we mentioned, saying, what could it be? Of course, Buds had very great Death Blossoms over the course of it, and really, I'm not sure if it'd be a joke to say that Buds might have the best Death Blossom sense of the game, because I just feel like watching FNATIC, you can always rely on Buds to go in and get huge plays with his Q, which you can't say about every other Reaper.
There was a moment, I think you guys were talking about, where he kind of baited ultimates by dropping down, but then he went for the teleporting thing where he's invulnerable, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, that was near the second point on Hollywood where he was sort of rushing in, and it spooked Liquid a little bit. Liquid ended up using Sound Bearer and Transcendence, and Buzz just sort of said, all right, I'm just going to sort of hit shift here for a little bit. Then I'm going to go in and get all sorts of value. And it's sort of that patience from Buds that probably leads them getting those moments more often than not. He can read a situation. And certainly, I mean, FNATIC might have been calling that on comms and otherwise saying, hey, don't go in, don't go in. But Liquid sort of jumped the gun there, and it hurt them.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen those flying Death Blossoms can be so dangerous that you can't really blame them for doing it. But again, it does show some really smart play by him.
And that's one of the main attributes of Reaper in general, is he just has this ability to go ham. And if it doesn't work out, if you don't find the right positioning, you can always Wraith Walk out. And that's really one of the things that I think makes Reaper so strong in the game right now and probably forever.
Right, well, we're hopefully going to have an interview, presumably with the winners there. I can get an update on that soon, as I'm sure they are trying to plug everything else on. So anything else that we want to cover from that match?
Well, I think you can't overstate the importance of these interesting crossfires we saw on Gibraltar. Of course, Gibraltar is one of the maps in the game where you can have the most kind of unique and interesting crossfires in general, especially on that first and second phase. There's so many places and positionings you can get on the walkway. Same at the end of the map as well. There's just multiple angles that you can hold on defense, and we just saw that coming out time and time again for FNATIC. Really, really smart stuff with the positioning, with the crossfires, with the movement as a team. You know, pulling the attacking team in one direction, then someone else on defense would come from the other.
The interesting thing is that there was a point from Liquid, too, where Liquid actually had a great showing of defense. So something that when people first play Overwatch, common criticism is saying, oh, there's just too much deathballing going on in this game. Something that, of course, Blizzard had a history with in SC2 is like death balls. But you take a look at maps like Gibraltar, where teams are really actually evolving their defense. Liquid was anything but deathballing on that first defense. They were actually, I sort of called it out, they were like water and how they dealt with that. And I just realized the liquid wire, but I'm going to leave that there.
Oh.
Yeah, I wasn't even doing that intentionally. But effectively, they weren't in a full death ball. They were all around, and they went out of their way to take out Cool Matt on Roadhog, and then they collapsed. But they didn't really give FNAC a great target to go into the start with, as opposed to just, speed boost in, take out everyone.
All right, we're going to have to skip the interview segment because people can't connect things from whatever. I don't know what I'm saying.
Technology is
Clutch
just not there
versus
yet.
Mono is going to be our next match in the losers bracket, the winner of which will go on to face Liquid. So let's see who's going to make it forward after this break.